Hello my peoples and welcome to a new video on my channel. It's your girl Vicky Strap, and today I show you 3 warpy transitions and you don't need any plugins for that, it's just additional. And I would say let's start with this video right away. So for the first one, I have to say I saw it on one of the transition idea videos. I'm not sure which channel it was. Wait, let me look. I didn't find the channel, but I will look later if I find it, because I'm pretty sure it's one of my viewers. It was one of my viewers, so I want to say shout out to this person for this cool transition idea, but they didn't do a tutorial about that, so I'm doing it for ya. So for this we need 3 clips. So let's start with our first clip. Why do I... no, okay. So this is our first clip. What we do is to first resize it, of course. Wait, is it raining outside? No, it is not. It just sounded like that. And the next thing we do is to press here to activate a motion blur and press here on the cube to activate to make it a 3D layer. And the first thing we do is to do a zoom out. So make a right click, new, and create a null object. Activate motion blur, the 3D layer. Then connect the layer with the null object layer that we just created. Press S to open up the scale. Press on the stopwatch and scale. And I want it to be like this. Then I put it back because it should be the end. And at the start we do a zoom in like this. And then we mark off keyframes, press F9. If not, make a right click keyframe assistant and easy ease them. After that, select or press here on the scale. If I didn't set that, mention that before, press S to open up the scale. Go and do the graph editor, make a right click, make sure that you're in the edit speed graph, and set your graph to the left like this, guys. Hello. Yes, like this. That's like that. But I put the keyframes full that way because it's too... it doesn't look so smooth. Wait, let me try it on the right click, edit value graph. Meh. Like this maybe. This looks good. Like this. And now we make sure... Oh, damn it. Better make it shorter. Make sure to go and select your clip and press R to up the rotation. And we need the Y rotation. Press on the stopwatch on the Y rotation. Set it there where you want it to start. I want it to start directly at the start. And then here, I want it to end. I align that with the scale keyframe and set the Y rotation to 90 or minus 90, depending on how to say that and which way you want it to go. If you do it to positive 90, it goes like to the left. And then cut it here with Control Shift and D or Command Shift and D. I mark the keyframes, press F9, go to the graph editor, make right click at speed graph and set the graph to the right. Like this. This looks good. Whoop. And now comes the cool part about it. We need our 2 clips now. I have this one and this one. And now you have to look which clip should be above. I want this clip to be above. And just reposition it like you want to position it now. One to the left and one to the right. So this would look like this now, and after you resized it and rearranged it, resized it, we make sure to activate the motion blur on both of our clips and activate the cube on it. Then we make a right click new and create a null object layer, and we make sure to connect this one, those 2 clips with the new null object that we just created, and the new created one should be activated in both 3D layer and motion blur. Oh, my voice, I'm so sorry. And now we have to change the position of our clip that is in the foreground. This is the left clip in my case. I press P to open up the position and we play with the third value. And you see if we put it to a positive number, it goes more to the background, and if we do a negative number, it goes to the foreground. I want it a little bit forward because it should be in the foreground. If you're not sure, change the view from active camera to one of the angles, maybe custom view like this, and then you can change it. I want it like this, then back to active camera. But I see the clip is a little bit too big for me now, so I press S and no, this should be okay, to be honest. And now with the new created null object layer, we press R to up the rotation, and you see we have the thing here now. And what we do is we press on the stopwatch on Y rotation and put it there back where we want our rotation to end. And at the start on the first clip, we had it to positive 90, so it has to be on negative 90 here. So we need the opposite value. Like this. But it depends on, if we have here negative 90, it needs to be positive 90 here, so it always needs to be the opposite. After that, marker or highlight your keyframes and press F9, make a then go to the graph editor, make a right click and go to edit speed graph and set the graph here to the left. Now we have something like that. And from here on, we make a right click, create a new null object, and we connect the null object with the rotation on it with the new null object and activate the cube and the motion blur here, of course. And right here, I want the rotation to the position to start. Here I press R to up the rotation, press on the stopwatch and set rotation. And the first keyframe is between those two rotation keyframes, and then we set it there, maybe here, and make a little rotation like this, as much as you want, of course. Then mark your keyframes, press F9, go to the graph editor, again right click, edit speed graph, and we do a middle graph like this. Do it like how you prefer it to be. It doesn't need to be necessarily a middle graph. If you like, I don't know, a graph to the left, graph to the right, then do it. But I like a soft middle graph. Now that was a little bit too edgy. Not edgy. Do you say edgy? Too stiff? No. This is good. And then we align our position keyframes now. So go to the first set rotation keyframe, go to both of your picture clips and press P. Oh, this could get a little bit confusing now. Yeah, right. P. And press on the stopwatch on both of them. And then go to your last position keyframe. And we start with the left one. This one goes to the right now, as much as you want it to be. And the other one goes to the left like this. So that is like this. And then marker or highlight both position keyframes on your first and second clip. Press F9. And then we go back to the middle, go to your graph editor, and then both of them, select the upper one first, we do a middle graph. Do it as you prefer it. I do a soft middle graph again, like this. So this is how it looks like now. Looks cool. So we are finished now, guys, but we can add our delicious, our main part, our main dish, our doublet displays. I will add it now, but because I already did 2 previous episodes of that, I will not explain what the settings here are, but I will tell you, I always do random settings. You can copy them, and it's always the same principle. So yeah, if not, skip to the next transition. That always makes my saliva drip. Ah, mamma mia. So let's start. For this, we need 3 clips as well. And for that, we start using our first clip. I will resize it and pre-compose it. And after that, we will see each other again. So after having your first clip or your background, that is as long as your composition, we have our 2 clips. I will start importing the first clip now, and we go to grid and guide options and activate the proportional grid. We import 2 pictures that have the size of 3 tiles. So I will show you, I will resize it that it fits 2 or 3 tiles here. Like this maybe, and then we press Q to open up the rectangle tool, or press here on the rectangle, and it should just be 3 tiles big. If you ask me why I don't fill up this side part, it's because we're gonna add the black bars later anyway, so it doesn't matter. And I will make it a little bit bigger. So this is perfect. Perfect. Now let's do the same with our second pig. Put it above it and resize it. Press Q or here on the rectangle, and then I make it 3 tiles big like this. So, and after that we can deactivate the proportional grid. Now I make a right click on the timeline new and create a solid layer. That's gonna be our black bar. Here with the color, you can change the color of your liking for your black bar. I want it to be black, and press OK. Then go to effects and presets and search for CC Jaws. It's already part of After Effects, so you don't need to install anything. Put it on your solid layer. Then set the height to 0 and set the direction to 90. And then set the completion to 100%. Press on the stopwatch here. Press U to see a keyframe. And now set the first keyframe there with the 100% where you want it to start. I want it to start directly at the start. And then go there where you want it to end, maybe like here. And then we set it to our liking. Depends on how thick we want our borders to be. I want it to be like this big is enough for me, 65%. Then I highlight the keyframes, press F9, go to the graph editor, make sure that I'm on the edit speed graph, and set the graph to the left. So now after that we can go out of the graph, mark all of the keyframes, activate motion blur, and so we have our first thing. Now that's really easy. What we do next now is we press P on both of our pictures and press on the stopwatch on both of our pictures and set the keyframe there where I want it to end. I set it a little bit after the black bars end, so a little bit after that, like you see it. And at the start, I set the position of the first clip to the right side and the position of the second clip on the left side. So they should both come from the opposite side. Like this. The only important thing is that the first keyframe of the black bar matches with the position keyframes like this, but the last keyframes you can decide by yourself. That is up to you. After that, we highlight all of our position keyframes, press F9, and let's start with the first picture. The first picture should be on the edit speed graph, the second two, and both graphs are going to look the same, like to the left. Now we have this, and I mean, it doesn't look bad, but let's add some touches on it. And what we do now is I will add a little bit of a zoom in. So I make a right click on it, new, and create a null object. I make sure to select every layer and connect it with the new null object that we created and activate the motion blur on the null object. Now press S to open up the scale, press on the stopwatch and scale. I set it directly at the start because the slide and like this starts right at the start too. Then I go there where the clip ends, maybe here. Oh, wrong button. That's not important for you what I'm doing right now. And then I set the last value to 60, like this. Put it like back, and then I highlight both keyframes, press F9, go to the graph editor. Now make sure to make a right click and go to edit value graph, and we just use the last value here and put this a little bit up. So now I want to show you, depending on how high you put it here, the more it zooms. Oh my gosh, no,
my After Effects do not crash right no.
Now I need to do all of that again.
One eternity later.
Now again. I had to redo everything. Anyways, I luckily had the autosave like this. And now I show you that again. So if you go somewhere in the middle, I can show you. It zooms in depending on how far you put this yellow line higher. Where you put the yellow line. If you put it really high, it zooms in really much. But I personally don't like it zooming in that much. I just like a subtle one, so I don't put this that high. I put it down like this. So this is already enough for me. Like this. And now let's add our turbulence displays. So, no, I will do it later because I don't explain it anyway. So go first, I show you additional effects you can add, and the first one is the light sweep. So to go to effects and presets and search for CC, light sweep. Here on generate and put this on your first clip. Then we go forward to see a little bit of this. You see that's the light sweep. I want the first one to come from the right corner going to the left corner. So what I do is I put this little circle up to the right corner and press on the stopwatch on center. I press U, see the keyframe. I align this with the position keyframe. So I set the first keyframe here, and then I put this to the left corner, and it will generate a keyframe, and I set this to the last frame, and you see it looks like this. Now I do the same on the second clip, just with a different direction. From here on, it should start from the left corner and goes to the right corner. Again, I press here on the stopwatch on center, press U. Align it with my position keyframes. Put this here to the right corner, then put this to the end. And now we have something like this. So the next thing for that, you need a plugin, but it's just additional. I just like it. I go to effects and presets and search for S underline hue set right. I set it to the first clip. I tell you, I'm gonna save it now. And we go to scale colors. Press on the stopwatch on scale colors, press U to see a keyframe, and we again do align it with our position keyframe and light sweep keyframe. So we put the keyframe right at the end, and at the start I set it to which color? Maybe this color. And I press OK, and this is going to be at the start. So we have something like this now, and I will do the same on the second clip, but to save time, I just select the hue set bright, press Ctrl and C or Command and C, then select the second clip. Go here to effects and control and paste it in with Ctrl and V or Command and V. Okay, and now we have something like this. Basically, we would be finished, but now I add the turbulence displays, and if not, skip to the next and last transition. Okay, now up to the last transition. For that, we just need 2 clips, so let's start to find a beautiful picture. Which one am I gonna use? This one maybe. And then I will resize it. Oh, Yoshida, he looks so good from Chainsaw Man, by the way. Now make a right click, pre-compose it, and then we're gonna copy the clip with Ctrl D or Command and D. I already searched for it, but in effects and presets, search for invert. It's under the folder channel, and put this to your upper clip. Oh my gosh, Yoshida, my man! Sorry. Then go to effects and presets and search for CC Jaws. Put this onto your second clip. And I'll set the height to 0 and press on the stopwatch on completion. Press E, A, E to open up the keyframes, U. Then put this keyframe there where you want the transition to end. And at the start, we're going to set a completion to 100. So it should look like this. Now highlight your keyframes, press F9. Go to your graph editor, right click edit speed graph and make a middle graph. Like this. And now it should look like this. And activate motion blur on your clip. And now let's add our second clip. Gonna add this one of Yoshida, this one. And then we press S here to open up the scale, press the stopwatch and scale. And look how much you want to scale in. I think this is enough. And look where you want it to end. I think I aligned them like this. And then I activate motion blur, and at the start I set the keyframes, to 0. And then I highlight the keyframes, press F9. Go to the graph editor, and I will do a middle graph as well for this one, I guess. Like this, maybe. I think this looks good, but I make the scale more outwards. Because I want to do a slow one like this, yes. Yes. And now you can make it a 3D layer. Add animation on an X and Y rotation and press with both of them. I'll align them with the scale. I go a little bit forward to see how it looks like. And maybe like this. Yeah, this looks good. Then I mark the keyframes, press F9. And now I do a middle graph on both of them as well. This is the Y and the X rotation we have. That you're not surprised why we have two graphs here. Like this maybe. Oops. Like this. So guys, now I'm gonna add additional effects on the overlay. And this is not it, the video, guys. I recommend you, if you want to learn a more warpy transition, this is episode 2 here that you can watch. And there's even an episode 1 you can watch. And with that, you learn a more warpy transition and all of your edits will look good, baby. So I recommend you to watch warpy transition episode 2.